You are getting ready to listen to the voice of Dr. Rhadi Ferguson, 2004 Olympian, four-time national judo champion, Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, author, speaker, and coach.
Here's what I want to talk about. There are some rough coaching moments in the preparation process for an athlete, especially when you move through different sports. I don't know if you can hear this dog yelping. I'm not a really big pet fan. I don't have a problem with pets. I just don't like dogs yelping in the middle of the day. I was in my dojo last week, and when my daughter was training, we're getting ready for the tournament season in July. She was doing round after round after round after round after round after round, and she began to get distressed. She got fatigued. She began crying. I began barking more instructions and orders, and she was having her moment where she was just going through this breakdown moment. And the people on the side were looking at me like I was an antichrist. And the reason why they did that is because they don't understand that there is no breakthrough without a breakdown. So you can't have a breakthrough moment without having a breakdown moment. And when you're coaching, you have to manufacture the breakdown moment so that you can usher in the breakthrough moment. And if you get caught up in looking at the breakdown moment, you'll miss what's getting ready to come on the other side. And in life, we've all had this situation where we get so caught up in what's going on currently with our breakdown that we miss the opportunity for the breakthrough. So the wonderful thing about the character, the Incredible Hulk, and I love the DC and Marvel universe. I like to watch Flash. I like to watch X-Men. I like Batman and Superman. I enjoy all of the characters within those two universes because each of those characters has a certain characteristic that they bring to the table, which makes them very, very, very unique. So really, there's no two characters in each universe that are the same. So the one thing about the Incredible Hulk, and for those of you who don't know the Incredible Hulk is kind of like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of phenomenon where a scientist by the name of Bruce Banner had some type of chemical experiment and imbalance where there's a part of him that's on the inside internally, it comes out and is able to smash and tear up everything. Now, if we look at it from the Freudian psychological perspective, your Incredible Hulk is actually your id, where you are at your gutter moments in terms of how you feel about sex and how you feel about killing and how you feel about hurting people and maiming people. And that point where somebody cuts you off and you get so mad that you can hop out of your car and take your pen and stab them in the neck and kill them. That first thought is your id. Your Incredible Hulk is your id. The Incredible Hulk is very different than Superman. Superman gets his job done, and his weakness is he doesn't want to hurt people. Okay. Batman will kill you with no problem in order to accomplish an objective. The Incredible Hulk is not worried or concerned about civilian fallout when he does the things that he does. He just goes in and he just smashes. All right. The Incredible Hulk is your id. Bruce Banner and who he wants to be as a scientist and who he wants to present himself as. That's his super ego. And what you watch when you watch The Incredible Hulk and you watch the cartoons and you watch him in the movies, what you're watching is you're watching a battle of the ego trying to create this balance between the id and the super ego in the human form of a guy by the name of Bruce Banner. Now, Bruce Banner's presentation, he wants to be his super ego. But Bruce Banner himself, as he presents in the movie, he's struggling between the Incredible Hulk and being who he really wants to be. And here's what I can tell you. In the end, he figures out how to balance being himself and being the Hulk. But he doesn't get to do that without the Hulk making his presence. What do I mean when I say that? If you've ever coached or if you've ever trained, I don't mean no I have to ask God to control my tongue for a moment. I'm not talking about this BS training that you think you did because you did a marathon or you did a half marathon. I'm not throwing any dirt on any of your accomplishments. So I'm not talking about any of that. I'm not talking about. I am talking about the training that happens. You strip your person away. And you get down to the lowest point of yourself, to the point where your Incredible Hulk comes out. If you've never done this before, you can do this with it. And if you've never done it to someone before, you can do it with a child. I'm not telling you to abuse children. Cheese on bread. Listen to me very carefully. If you ever have a child pinned down, it doesn't happen in the first 3 minutes or 5 minutes. 3 minutes, 7 minutes goes by, 10 minutes, the child saying, let me go, let me go, let me go, let me go, let me go. You got the kid's hands folded up and they're trying to bite you and kick. And then there's this moment where you hear the child scream and grunt and yell and make this last ditch effort to get out before they 100% just concede. They'll fight and fight and fight and fight. And then there's this last, and then when they get that out and they can't get out, then what they'll do is they'll just lay there. The Incredible Hulk has lost before too. Because just because you access your Incredible Hulk doesn't mean you're going to win all the time. But you need to find out what your Hulk is, how to access it, and how to properly use it to get out of certain situations. That point where that child can't get out and they begin to start accessing everything that they have in their person because they can't find another way or another opportunity, they're biting and scratching and clawing and kicking, and you're just playing. You know, all of us have done this to our little cousins when we're playing around. That moment where they have that low guttural scream and yell and holler and grunt, where they're trying that last ditch effort to get out, what you'll notice is they are stronger than they ever were earlier in the fight. How do you actually get stronger later in the fight when you're already as tired as you thought you were going to be? It's because you've never accessed the total and complete part of yourself when it comes to achievement. You cannot get to the point where you break through until you break down. Now, here's the difference. A lot of people say, well, I've been through some tough spots. Different. putting yourself in a situation to be coached like that and having life happen to you and making it through are two different things. One, you were put into the crucible. The other, you put yourself into the crucible. Different mindset, different mentality. Now, here's the thing. Why do I need to access my incredible hawk, Dr. Ferguson? You may not need to. But what you do need to understand is that if you do have an incredible hawk on the inside of you, you need to access it and let it out early so that you can control it and tame it. Because if it comes out on its own, you and everybody else around you is going to be in trouble. See, the major strength in the relationship with Banner and the Hawk is not with what the Hawk can do. The major strength is in later on in the process. Banner understands how to keep the Hawk in and not let him out, and when to let the Hawk out. There's much more control that is available when somebody can actually crush you and allows you to speak and allows you to voice your opinion and allows you to say the things that you want to say and allows you to have your voice and allows you to do the things that you believe that you're doing on your own. There's a lot more strength with that person who allows you that opportunity. When they could cut the opportunity off for you, they allow it to you and then they don't do anything about it. So you walk away believing that I read his ass, and what you did was what you did was what you were allowed to do. Having the strength to not hawk smash when you can is true strength. And then using your incredible hawk when you need to is true awareness. So when you're training somebody, let's go all the way down for a combat sport, you have to train that person to access part of their id within the sporting environment. That's why most professional practices for combat sports, high-level wrestling, high-level judo, high-level MMA, most of them are closed practices. Like when I used to train on American Top Team and the professionals trained, they closed the practice off. When I wrestled in ninth grade and I was training in Pennsylvania, there were no parents around. They closed the practice off. In judo, when we had tough practice at the Olympic Training Center, they closed the practice off. And I used to live at the OTC, and there were some practices when the Greco team practiced and the freestyle team practiced where they closed the practice off. There's some things that happen inside of that practice room that nobody needs to see, that nobody needs to have access to, that nobody needs. It never needs to be leaked out of that domain ever. Whatever happened on those mats or inside of that facility, it needs to stay there. And the words and the actions and everything need to be soaked up by the mats and the walls. Training somebody to legitimately hurt, kill, and maim somebody else with the understanding that you're going to allow the rule set to save them is very difficult to do. And everybody doesn't have the stomach or the I would say the physiological or biochemical makeup for it. It's cool to hear Dan Gable talk when he's talking to a group of kids and giving a motivational speech, or somebody like Lee Kemp when he's talking to a group of kids, or you talk to somebody like Daniel Cormier when they're talking to a group of kids, and then to know them or meet them or talk to them when they're really, really communicating within the fraternity of elite level sports people, when they're really talking about the things that they really talk about. Very, very different. Here's what I'm telling you. you go through life with a friction point of who you are at your core and who you want to present yourself to the world as. And the battle of the ego to balance out this id and this super ego is rough for you because you haven't appropriately accessed your id. Now, you can also access your id by, grabbing some crack and smoking it and going down to your lower self and doing. This is why you need coaching. There's a way to access your id in another form or fashion in a healthy way, in a different type of environment. That's why I like sports. My cousin Mark Beckford used to say this all the time. He said, in sports and out of courts. He used to say that all the time because sports, especially combat sports, will allow you to access parts of your id in the healthiest way fashion. Are there some the accessing of your id is not going to be great for everybody. And you just have to accept that. And if you want to understand what I'm talking about at its core, there's a book that I wrote called Enhance or Destroy, talking about relationship lessons from elite athletes. And you can get that at www.enhanceordestroy.com. It's on Audible. There's another book by Tim Grover, the coach for Michael Jordan, called Relentless. And in that book, he really talks about every world-class athlete or every elite level performer has a dark side. And they let out pieces of their dark side in the environment of play. But they cultivate their dark side in practice. Cultivate it. I used to train with this guy by the name of Atu Han. Atu Han is a 2000 Olympian in the sport of judo for the United States. Really big dude. Taller than me, bigger than me. Hands about the size of my head. I remember the first day I got to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I think it was early 1999 or late 1998, something like that. No, it was late 1998. Because I had placed third in the US Open, and Atu placed second in the US Open. When I got to the Olympic Training Center, the first day, the first evening of practice, Atu and I got in a fist fight. First day. Now, I'm gonna tell you this. I was determined on fighting him when I got there. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it that we were gonna fight that day. Now, either he was going to fight or I was going to fight by myself, but we were fighting that day. Because where I come from, when you go to summer camp, the first day of summer camp, you need to fight the first day of summer camp because they're not going to put you out the first day. But if you fight the first day of summer camp, that will staple down how the rest of the summer will go for you. Now, you mess around and don't fight on that first day of summer camp, you're going to have a hard summer, buddy. So just go ahead and fight on the first day and be done with it. Because there's no sense in running from the friction. Now, could I have lost bad in that fight? Yes. Was there a winner in that fight? No. By the time we got going good, Eddie Liddy had stepped in and other people stepped in and separated us. But not addressing the friction of the situation would have been the wrong thing to do as an athlete. You deal with the friction right now. And that's the hard part about being in the corporate America or the corporate environment, is that you learn how to operate around your friction points and send emails and CC people. And you don't get on the phone and walk down the hallway and put your hand in somebody's chest and be like, hey man, who you think you're talking to? Like, because that's normally how stuff would happen. But things don't happen like that because a lot of people have all these layers and buffers of protection that really don't exist in the minds of people who are ready to maim you, beat you, and kill you. I remember when I was working at Texas Instruments, and it was the first time I had been to black college, man. I was at Howard University, man. If somebody got a problem with you at Howard, they're gonna walk up to you and they're gonna tell you what their problem is. I didn't understand this whole, send a message and CC somebody and talk trash and keep the whole email channel. I didn't understand that. So I'm fresh out of HBCU land. And they started this email thing. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? I got up out my chair, walked down to a couple cubicles down, and told the person, I said, hey, man, what the hell do you think you're doing? I said, I need my job just like you need your job. If you got something to tell me, just walk down the hallway and tell me. Don't be starting this whole email chain shit. I said, because it's not going to work out the way you think it's going to work out. I said, you're going to mess around and send these emails, and I'm going to catch your ass in the parking lot, and this is going to be done with. I said, you got something to tell me, just walk down the hallway like I just walked down here to tell you. And I walked and left. I didn't know that wasn't the right thing to do at the time, but I was young. It was basically the first day of summer camp, and I had to staple down what I was going to deal with and what I wasn't going to deal with. Because I need to, if there's going to be any friction in the environment, it's going to be the friction that I create. I'm not dealing with the friction that you create. I want to handle that up front. I'm going to handle it up front. I'm going to access part of my id, massage the parts that I need to deal with this situation, present myself as I would like to be seen per my superego, and then fix the friction point based upon the tools that I've cultivated through my time and life in sport. And that is how I handle things. Because as I've gotten older, I've become Bruce Banner. I don't let the Incredible Hulk out anymore. I just access the best parts of the Hulk to create the leverage that I need to handle the thing without using brute force. But you need the opportunity to access your Incredible Hulk, and you cannot get any juice out of a fruit that you do not squeeze. The best way to squeeze the juice or the sweetness out of yourself is to do it with world-class quality coaching. There's a difference between squeezing and crushing. There's a difference between hitting and massaging. There's a difference between kicking and pushing. There's a difference between pulling and snatching. And there's a fine line of how to do those things. And when some of the other tools are necessary, when a snatch is necessary and a pull is not. Here's what I can tell you. The challenge that a lot of you are having in your lives today who are listening is that you want to accomplish some great things, and you know that you have greatness inside of you. You just believe that you can access this greatness on your own. You don't understand that the greatness that you need to access doesn't look like you. It doesn't look like the you that you want to present. You're going to have to go to a place and access part of that so that nobody can see it, so that you can get it and pull it out and then apply it to the rest of your life. There's a client, all right, and I'll say her name, named Tiara. I won't give you her last name, Tiara. Tiara's absolutely done some phenomenal things within the Switch On coaching process and in the Switch On coaching program. We had this my business partner, Coach All, and we had this approach to use with her, like we do with some of our clients, where somebody has to come in hot and somebody has to come in soft. And most of the times I'm the person who comes in hot, like super, super, super hot, to push you, to make you respond through the SR model, stimulus response, to push you until you get to the point where either you want to quit or you respond with portions of who and what you truly are. Because you can be a man of the cloth and preach every Sunday, and if you walk outside and you don't have no slippers on and you stub your toe, you're gonna say some things that's not in that Bible. And this is what I know. Because your id exists. If you want to accept the Christian theoretical framework as it is, God created man in his own image. And man accepted some things, or accepts things that sometimes are outside of the will of God. This superhero power that allowed Samson to pull the pillars down and kill everybody after he had been dealing with Delilah came because he dealt with Delilah. The super skills that David had in the Bible came because David was who David was. Cain actually had the ability to kill Abel, even though he should not have. There are parts of your person that are not meant for evil, but they are meant for good. You have to be coached the right way into those areas to access them so you don't go out of control with them, because sometimes your best self or your best person is close to the cliff of not being your best self. You have to intelligently train yourself to that particular pinnacle of achievement and then bring yourself back. Here's what I know. I have seen some cutthroat individuals in my life, and I've even been handled by a cutthroat individual to the point where I had to tell the individual, I said, hey man, I ain't like what you did, but I respect the way that you did it. I think you did a good job at the end of the day doing what you did. If you were really convicted that you believe that you had to do it like this, and you did it like this, and you wanted to walk away with the type of cash as you got, I respect the game, because you gotta respect the game. Even if you don't like the players. The game is the game. You are a player in the game, and you got to ask yourself how important winning is to you. Because the Incredible Hulk could damn near win everything, and Bruce Banner can't win everything. But Bruce Banner understood towards the end what winning meant for him. And here's what you got to understand. From the age of 20 to 30, winning looks different. From the age of 30 to 40, winning looks different. From the age of 40 to 50, winning looks different. 50 to 60, winning looks different. 60 to 70, winning. For each decade, winning for you is going to look different. Like right now, if you're at the age of 35, winning for you is not holding your grandchild. That's not winning for you. But if you're at the age of 70, hanging out with your grandkids and talking with them at the dinner table while you're playing cards, that's winning for you. But winning looks different at different stages in life. The rough part is, if you don't choose to win now, you may not be in a position to win later. Read the book Relentless by Tim Grover. Read the book Enhance or Destroy Your Relationships by Dr. Ferguson. Go to www.enhanceordestroy.com. It's on Audible. It'll be absolutely phenomenal. It's a great listen. All right. Not because I wrote it, but because it's a great listen. There are things in your person. All right. There are things in your life that you want access to. You're going to have to access parts of your person in order to access those particular things. And you got to do it the right way so that you don't hawk smash everything. That's all I got for you. The friction point of who you are at your deep, dark core and who you desire to present yourself to the world as is a rough friction point to navigate. You'll be navigating that for the rest of your life. But you have to access parts of your id, access parts of your super ego to build your ego as you go through life. Because your ego is your presentation of yourself and who you are. Oh, let me make this point. You will have a moment in your life where you're accessing parts of your super ego. You might be fresh out of meditation, or you might be on a fast, or you might be reading the Bible, the Quran, or the Torah, or you might be really deep in a spiritual walk and a spiritual journey. You might run into somebody who's deep into their accessing their id on the low guttural side. They might be cheating on their spouse, or snorting a line, or doing some things they shouldn't do. They might have a DMX moment, if you will. They might have a David moment in the Bible. Be very careful of when you're in your super ego phase. And you're looking at somebody in their id phase, because you both are going to come back here, and you're not any better or any worse than that other person. And over time, you're going to swap sides. Be very careful. It's like we tell our clients, when you start to get on the path of losing weight, and you can count your calories, you can look at somebody's plate and see how many calories they have on their plate. Don't be judgmental with that person. That person's in the same spot that you were just in a couple of weeks ago or a few months ago. They need to go through that whole cycle that you went through until you got here. And they don't need to be judged while they're doing it. So be very careful when you see people who are accessing the different parts of the spectrum that they need to enhance their person too. That's what I have to say. All right. Take care. Have a super fantastic day. This talk wasn't for everybody. It was who it's for. I love you. God loves you best.